Good afternoon, everyone. Now, of course, everyone knows while I was going out the Navy, I had to be in Fort Smith from 93 to 95. I got there in October, was out in August of 95. That's almost 2 years in the hospital. The reason why it went on so long was I was fighting on my disabilities because of everything I went through in the Navy. And again, I went up in rank from E2 to E3, even though busted on my ship and shit like that. Now, one of the things we would have is therapy every day. Me and I would talk about my problems, tell them what I was going through with me and Daphne and everyone. Another problem you have there too, Daphne. Everyone knew I was married to you. I mean, on the space and on the ship and everyone we lived around. Did they hear the child cry out in the middle of the night if I was to rape her or have sex with her or lick her vagina one time? If you didn't, what does that mean? Now, therapy is what I want to talk to you about today. And what that is, and why you might need it. Which Mary Snow just asked me why. Why a child would need therapy at 4 years old if her stepdad, who was the last person she was introduced to anyway, were to wake up with her in the living room with him, and what he would have to do under those circumstances anyway, legally, to clear his name. Alright. Therapeutic looks like it's the closest word they have in this dictionary, which means pertaining to healing, curative, therapy, the curative and preventive treatment of disease of an abnormal condition. Now, schizophrenia is an abnormal condition, and we had therapy either once a week or whatever while I was in the hospital for schizophrenia. That means I would talk about my problems to Dr. Asner, Commander Asner, I think, and different people like that during our therapy sessions. And it's also called group or things like that. Now, through therapy, you tell your doctors what you're going through daily and stuff like that. And your daily life. And you talk about your problems and things like that. And that's how I know about therapy, Mary Snow. And if the child comes in there to you and you're asleep on the couch, she needs therapy. Period. You gotta ask her who showed her that. And if she names that person, she was either coached or put up to it. Worst case scenario is it was the mom, then real dad, and then granddad. Unless you think the grandma really would have something to do with it. Which all she might would do is undress her, but to put her head between her legs and show her penis would involve a dildo. A white dildo on a black woman. So that's crazy. But granddad has a penis and he's light skinned. Sal has a penis and he's sort of sandy blonde with blue eyes. I don't know what his girlfriend looked like, but I was seeing a picture of Sal. Sal Blissizzetti. And then Mr. Walker, only those two men could have had any kind of contact with her similarly before she was with him. And who else would accuse me but Sal and Mr. Walker? Not Daphne, because she knows that would look bad for her. But they would accuse the hell of me if they really did it themselves. See what, like I told you, 2-1, fighting one person because they're paranoid schizophrenic only makes you look more worse than the schizophrenic. Mary Snow. Are you Sal's wife? Mary. I don't know your real name, and I don't care. Or Maria. Or Miriam. Or Miriam. One's Hebrew and one's Greek. And I know Mary Bell is Gideon's name when he was fighting Baal, when he was fighting the Philistines and the armies of Israel. And, that's why I accepted Mary Bell as my girlfriend. See, I know things Mary Bell don't even know about the Bible. or anyone. Because you don't read and study to show yourself approved like Paul said, which is what he did for 3 years in Arabia before he joined the disciples. He got his message down pat. Now, because of the disciples, he was having to teach it 50-50 sarcastically 1 minute and telling the whole truth the next. But then John started joining, but he also was the same way. I don't know. Just as lukewarm as Paul was. Now, who's lukewarm? The apostles. Not us. We're their children. Like Paul said. You have one Father in Christ, me. I'm teaching you what Christ is showing me. Not 100%. Because you also said all men lie. That includes you, right? You're a liar. You're a liar. Because you said women cannot teach or have authority over a man when Deborah and Huldah did. Makes you a liar. Makes you a liar. And a hypocrite. And you're the reason the Catholic Church went crazy on women when Constantine took over. And started calling them witches for wanting to be priestesses and shit like that. Or pastors or pastoresses or prophet and prophetesses. And, they can be all three. And, priestesses, prophetesses, pastoresses, bishopesses, and deaconesses. If they're married to one husband. Right? If the rule for the male is to be married to one wife, to be a bishop or a deacon, and I don't desire that, I'm a prophet. A prophet can have more than one wife. Hosea did. King David did. We don't know about Elijah, but 1 minute I'm with the female, and if she breaks up with me, I'll let her go. But only with the female who choose to be with me. I know. Now, if you're setting me up with that shit, that's your sin. And theirs too. Not mine, not mine. Like King David with King Saul, when he was in the wilderness, he was with about 7 women. Then he got 10 virgins when he became king. Then he went for Bathsheba. That's 18 women. Same number I was with. Except none of mine were 10 virgins. That's what I'm waiting for, my 10 virgins. Not an outrageous number, but no more than King David either. At the most. So that could be 1 through per every 120 years. I don't care. But I still need 1 for this cycle. Between 0 to 120. And then you might kill me if I'm dumb enough to go to Jerusalem for your stupid asses, which Judas knew he had to betray Jesus so he could fulfill the scriptures. And sold him for 30 pieces of silver because he was female and male. And James, John, and Peter lied that it was Moses and Elisha they saw. It was Jesus from an androgynous form to a male and female form back to an androgynous form. That's what they saw. They lied there too. Like with Adam and Eve and Eden, they could morph from male and female to produce a child and then back into androgynous to have the child asexually, like a clone or a what's the word? A snail or earthworm. Now a snail can reproduce with itself sexually or another snail too. That's what Satan tried to do in Eden with Adam and Eve. Now there could have been up to 3 couples in Eden, and Satan had sex with them all, a mini orgy. But they would also be in different parts of the garden, which was a huge garden, retard. And from there, the human race was born. That's the whole truth. You don't want to hear it. Satan introduced two genes into the gene pool. The hermaphroditic gene from a pure hermaphrodite, which he was. He also introduced the rhesus monkey gene in the blood and the iron in the blood to make you mortal today. But if you believe in Jesus, even if you have iron in your blood, you can appear immortal to the mortals, like I do. So anyway, that's the point there. Now, therapy is so that the child, if she was molested by her granddad or her real dad, before she even met me, and that's the reason she came in there to me, because they confused her, I would have to ask the child who showed her that night and tell Daphne. And if we handled it then, we handled it as a private matter between me, her, and her family. But men don't want that to be a private matter between me and Daphne and her. They want to make it public because of their sin with her first. Now, Sal had access to her for up to 3 to 4 days, and Mr. Walker had 2 years access to 3 years. Who would influence the child to even come in there to me? They would. They knew I was just paranoid schizophrenic, and men don't deal with children as a schizophrenic, but who don't know what the fuck she's doing there with him in the first place. But well, no, that's not normal behavior for a child. Unless coach. Like when I walked in on my parents having sex and tried to be with my cousin who I knew, and then the other little girl across the street who I just showed my penis to, and she went and told her mom. If any of that shit happened, dumbasses, Mr. Walker and Sal, accuse me, I'll accuse you back. You put her up to it. I had no opportunity until after she moved in with me, and we had a little interaction until I'm back to base. Which, I don't know how long that would be, or it's just a idea. You're putting in my head that something happened between me and her. Now, Daphne denied it when the police contacted her. Amanda ain't went to the police department and told them it's happening. So what else can I say? You two assholes, Mr. Walker and Sal, would be the only ones to accuse me. Which means you were trying to make her somehow come in there to me in the middle of the night. Which if she did, she would have to do so after Daphne went to sleep, so she couldn't witness anything. And that means she woke me up after I went to sleep on the couch myself. Like I told Daphne that night. Now, how did she do it? According to my testimony that night, she put her vagina in my face and started rubbing around. I woke up, asked her who showed her that, and told Daphne immediately. Then, we talked about it for a few minutes, settled the issue, and went to sleep. That's what I'd have to do legally if the child woke me up in the middle of the night. And I wouldn't have no choice, and I would have to do it immediately. That's the point. And Daphne knows I'm telling the truth. Right, Daphne? And you have to tell the truth with me, or you look crazier, and that you were part of the conspiracy too. You're better to tell the truth with me than lie with them. That's why I think you made your statements and they tried to erase them too. I told you I was recording you anyway, personally, because I know better than to put someone on the YouTube without telling them. I know that. Thanks for letting me know they erased it, though. I appreciate that. Well, anyway, there you have it. Sal and Mr. Walker had more access to the child before I did. And if they're accusing me, they're the ones who would have had contact with her first. She came in there to me, it was after their contact with her, not me with them. In fact, I was sleeping on the couch until she moved back in. And when she moved back in, I was still sleeping in the couch, so she was sleeping with Daphne. Until I moved back to base. And that could have been up to 3 days to a week after she moved back in. So when did she come into me? Which night? I don't even remember. That's not a memory either, Daphne. It's piecing them together based upon hypothetical situations based upon my real childhood. So I'm not accusing you. I'm not accusing them. They're accusing me. In the question, in the study. And it has to be someone who knew her before she was with me, not after. Unless it has to do with the guy who tried to kill me after I landed 3-story fall, which could be Pastor Thomas or some guy on base. But I wouldn't even call you then, because we were fighting and I didn't want to stress you, unless it was just to get a shirt, but that's different too. I don't know how to go off with you unless you made me feel safe, but like I said, whoever did that, whatever they did to me that day, was trying to cover their sins, not me mine. And the only people I would call was Pastor Thomas from First Christian Fellowship Church, Daphne, or I got into an altercation for telling the people I landed the fall. They didn't want to leave because I'm paranoid schizophrenic. And I told them, well, it's for all the mentally patients on the third floor, and if I got out of the room, what I was going to do was try to win that. Now, if it escalated from there, I'd even try to show them where I went up and how I did it. I wouldn't do it all again because I'm not glutton for punishment. You're not supposed to tempt the Lord twice. But again, if I survived it once, I can probably do it again, but I don't tempt the Lord either. Because even Jesus wouldn't jump from the Temple Mount, but that's 60 feet. almost 59, whatever. And I'm sure the barracks at 35 to 40 feet is shorter than the temple by a mile, by 30 feet or so. 25 to 30 feet, depending on its height. And we say tore that building down and moved into other barracks, but that was in 94. That's a memory of where I was living, and in that time, there were 3 main barracks where we lived. There was the male barracks, the female barracks, and then a little barracks above the garage, which was where the fire department was for the base. And then again, that's memory. I'm describing a layout that no longer exists, too. And it was like a little triangle within the pattern next to the car garage where you can park your cars for the hospital, and then the hospital. And that's memory of the actual floor plan of the grounds of the hospital, which has changed since then too. So am I the same person, asshole, when you attacked me after I fell? Whoever it was, Pastor Thomas or security or whoever. And the only people who could know about it would be them. Because Daphne already knew if something happened or not, and we already dealt with it then. And she has 48 hours to call the police like anyone else. If she didn't, that's on her. But she can't wait 3 weeks later, which when that happened. And, after I moved back to base, 2 to 3 weeks. Because again, however long it took me to get back to base, I was sleeping on the couch, and then when I moved back to base, I had my own room, and I was on the 3rd floor. Don't remember the room number either. But that's where I was at. That's where they put the psych patients too. That's bright. Then I went to go out for the evening, got $250 at the ATM, put it in my room, went to go get cleaned up, was going to take a shower after I took off my dungarees, and that was it. Then I went back to my room, and the key was missing. So I started trying to get into the room. Went first to a first or second class petty officer on watch, and told him I needed a master key. Then I went over to the security in different places on base, trying to again get access to the room, and got some screwdrivers from sort of big guy, and I don't remember his rank, maybe he's an E4 3rd class petty officer or something like that. I don't remember all the details, but and then he gave me a pair of screwdrivers, and I tried to break into the door. Then my final attempt was to climb up on the roof and lower myself down to the window. That's all I remember. Then waking up in the hospital. So whatever happened between then and then, I blacked out and woke up in the hospital. Like the car accident. Again, only I, the real Shane Edward Lee, would know this much detail. And the truth is in the detail. The lie is in the half-truth. Not the detail. So who's lying? You. For 12 years on YouTube, or 22 years total. And who's telling the truth? Me. Trying to tell you hypothetically nothing happened If it did, it would be on my wife and her family anyway. And they raised a child. Not me. Sal too. They all had access to her first. That's why Mary Snow, the child would need therapy. Not because of my contact with her, but because what she learned from the Walkers, then Daphne on the way to Virginia, and then Sal. Then me. I'm the last man she would have had contact with, not the first. I went from Grandpa to Daphne, who has dildos in her room, and then me. Right? Or then Sal, then me, right? Salvo Sassetti, and now Sal's Italian, so I know he's involved with the mob probably too, and is Catholic. That motherfucker. Can't kill me. I don't lie. You're making me present crazy hypotheticals that make me only appear more mentally ill, but still at the same time don't prove a damn thing. That's what I told you then, that's what I'll tell you now, that's what I'll tell you in the future. If it was Pastor Thomas, same thing. If it was security on base, same thing. If for some reason I needed a shirt and I called Daphne, same thing, Daphne. I don't forget a damn thing consciously. You can't kill me outside of Jerusalem, and I'm still one of the two witnesses. Like it or not. And I'm resurrecting pretty fast if I break myself accidentally and it repairs suddenly. Someone repaired it, but I don't remember them being there, so that means they also did something for me not to remember them being there. Which means I blacked out and healed. Because I went back to doing it all that day too. Now I called it an angel, but it might have been a demon trying to kill me again through my attacker from the past. They were also giving me too much salt in my diet, trying to kill me with high blood pressure, to where my feet and legs swelled up with my stomach and chest to 30 pounds of water weight, which would kill you. That didn't kill me either. Twice. So keep doing the bullshit you're doing, you can't kill me. You're making me a pure immortal too, like the Wolverine. Because I don't even remember what you did to fix the watch, but it was fixed, thanks. And when I came to, I had the knife, so what did you do? Stab me with the knife? Yet God healed me from the knife wound. Because I don't remember that shit. When you kill someone like Lazarus or the boy and the girl, they die of natural causes or whatever. Like Jesus. Jesus was stabbed through the chest with a spear. Nails in his hands or wrist, which the wrist is the lie. The Bible says hands. The feet, and he had female breasts. That's your problem. That's what the church don't want you to see because they're lying for Satan. They're Satan's church now. Once Constantine took over. And Constantine is male-oriented, not female. And Paul gave him enough rope to hang himself with, knowing he would, but at the same time, they all know I'm here now. All. Alright, that's why Amanda would need therapy because of her granddad and Sal, her biological dad, could have molested her first, unless Daphne used the dildo herself and coached her to go in there and say grandma too. Which I don't think. I'm joking about that too, Daphne, you know that. We know nothing happened, but they just don't want to believe it. Unless your dad actually did that shit with her and she still didn't do it. That's possible too. But anyway, Daphne, I'm sorry this shit is coming out on YouTube and they just won't let it go, whoever they are. I mean, can't put a name to them, can't put a definite IP address or anything unless the government is involved now. But even this is a mock trial, and for a real trial, if it was to happen in reality, and telling them again what all the facts they need to bring it to trial, which is live on her DNA, or on her vagina if I licked her. You need that. Tape or not. That clears me if you have no saliva on her vagina. Or didn't even bother to take it because of the tape.